Hi everybody, it's Josh and welcome back to episode 2 of our How You Can Make Money with Your Roland BN-20 or BN-20A printer series. In today's video, we're going to bring you along for the ride as I design and print a few banners for a local food truck with my Roland BN-20. And just like in the first video, we're going to bring you along for every step of the process. And if you happen to like longer format content like this, please give this video a like and subscribe or follow us if you haven't already. So let's go ahead and get started by telling you how I came to get this job. As a new printer owner, I have been casing the area looking for potential work. I'm also searching in an area that I don't know anyone or have any connections, so work isn't going to just fall into my lap by word of mouth. On one of my drives through some small towns, I saw a new food truck pop up selling some pizza, and it had very little signage out front, so this looked perfect for my BN-20. Now, I'm not one to try and tell you how you should go about making your sales pitch. I personally prefer a very relaxed and low pressure approach. I'll stop by a few times, get to know the place and people before offering my services. So for the next 4 days, I went and I ordered several items and made small talk, getting to know Charlie and his New York style pizzas very well. Garlic knots and supreme pizzas are my favorite, but that is getting off track. I told Charlie that if he ever needed any banners, signs, or stickers, to just ask me. And then right there on the spot, he asked me if I could create a logo for him. I'd been so focused on the output of the printer and that offering logo design as a service hadn't even crossed my mind, but it's definitely something that anyone using a BN-20 or BN-20A could do. So I immediately told him that I can do that and I could have samples ready for him to check out the next day. After all was said and done, I received an order for more than just a logo design and 3 banners, but I'll have to save the rest of that stuff for later episodes. So before we can start on the banners, we need to come up with the logo. The customer just said to make whatever I wanted and bring it over. I am not the most talented person when it comes to creating graphics from scratch, and I am a one-man operation for now. So I will take whatever help I can get, and since I've been in this business, you tend to end up with a lot of different graphics or services with all types of templates that you can use at your disposal. Now, just like in our previous video, we don't want to overwhelm the customer with samples. That could lead them to being indecisive and having a hard time picking out which one they like. So I'm going to just pick out 4 of my favorite edited templates and then send them over just to see if there's anything that they would like, if any of these are the direction we want to go, just to get a general idea. The next day, I did receive a reply saying that they really liked the classic style and wanted to know if I could do it in the colors of the Italian flag and then also add in 2 images that they have found. Heck yeah, I can do that. That's super easy. So now it's time to load up our design software and get to work. For this example, I'm going to be using USCutter's Vinyl Master DSR software. I like Vinyl Master because you can create all the contour cut lines and special colors needed to work with Roland VersaWorks and your BN-20 or BN-20A printer. Now with that out of the way, let's get into it. Once inside Vinyl Master, I did a quick Google search to get the colors of the Italian flag and then created a square of each color on the Vinyl Master design space to save for color matching a little bit later. Next, I'm going to drag and drop the design that they chose into Vinyl Master, and since this is currently in PNG format, I just need to convert it into a vector real quick. To do this, I'm going to make sure the image is selected, and then I'll move my mouse cursor up to the dynamic toolbar up top and select the Vectorize button. This will then open a new pop-up window and immediately begin to scan the image. Since this is a high resolution image with very well defined colors on a white background, I am going to reduce the smoothing and increase the sharpness of the corners. If we include the background, we have a total of 3 colors in this image, so I will need to increase the amount of colors to that for it to properly show. Then I want to remove the background by moving my cursor to the background color and right-clicking it right here to put an X over it and remove it from the image. And then retrace it one more time for a nice clean image. Once you're happy, you just want to click accept and then we have our image vectorized on the design screen. Now we just need to break it apart so that we can edit each individual piece. So with the entire object selected again, we want to then move our mouse cursor up to the Arrange drop-down menu at the top. From this drop-down menu, you want to select Ungroup. With everything now ungrouped, we should be able to click every individual piece of the design, and I can change whatever I want to whatever color I want. To color match everything, I'm just going to move my cursor over to the right side, click on the eyedropper here while holding the mouse button down, and then I'm going to release the mouse button over whatever color I want to pull from the Vinyl Master design space. You'll see the color appear below your normal color selection, and then you can just select whatever vectorized objects you have, click that box, and then it becomes that color. I'm just going to repeat this process, and then once I'm happy with everything, it's time to bring in the objects that the customer wanted. As you can see, they're already in the Italian flag colors, but to make that white stand out on our white background, I'm going to put an outline around it. So to do this, we just want to select the object, and then go over to the left side and select our outline module. This module will give you a live preview so that you can adjust the percentage thickness, color, and edges until you're satisfied. Once I was done, I sent it over to Charlie and he was happy with the design. That's when he asked me if I could print him 3 10-foot banners for him to use in an upcoming event on his tent. So now that we have the logo, and after coming to an agreement on the price for the design work and printed banners, it's time for me to design the banners. This is a pretty easy design, so it's going to be simple to make. I like to keep a white box as a background since I will be exporting this as a PDF file. We can set the length to 120 inches, and the roll has a width of 20 inches with a slightly smaller print area, so I'm just going to put the width at 19 inches to leave room for some grommets. For the design, I just expanded out the checker pattern by copy and pasting each side until I was happy. I do want them to see that we're making pizza, so I'm going to increase the size of the New York style pizza logo. And then move everything up above it. I then took a bunch of pictures that they had sent me of their products, and then I also pulled from their Facebook group and dropped them onto the design screen. You can see that we've got a bit of cropping to do here so that we can focus on the pizza or the garlic knots. So because we have Vinyl Master DSR, I can just right click on the image and select the Image Tools and Options menu, and then select the crop option. Inside this pop-up window, we can use our cursor to adjust the crop by moving these lines, and once we're done, we just click accept. Now to keep with our Italian color theme, I'm just going to use the outline tool on this picture and set it to a neon green and click accept. Then we're going to repeat the cropping process on a second image of delicious garlic knots. I want to make sure that it's the same size as the first image, so once we're done cropping it, we just want to click the image of the first pizza so that we can get its size. And then we'll just click on the garlic knots, type that size in, and then we're ready to perform our outline. Once the outline's good, we're going to use our color dropper to give them our Italian colors. Then I'm going to use the alignment tool over on the right side to align them with each other, resize them, and put them in their spot. Now we're just going to copy and paste them, move them over to the right side, align them to each other, then we're going to group them together and then center them around the logo. That way we've got even spacing for both sides. Now, it was at this point that I realized I forgot to add the contact information, so I did that, did a little bit more resizing, and then put the samples onto a tablet and drove down to the pizza stand to show Charlie. Once I had Charlie's final approval, it was now finally time to export these files as PDFs. Now I want to export each banner individually. To do so, I'm going to select each one by dragging a box over the individual banner, then moving my mouse cursor up to the File drop-down menu, and then Export As, and then I'm going to select File. From there, I can select the PDF as the export file type. I'll select my directory, give it a name, then press save. Here you have a couple more options, and it's very important that you pay attention to this because I'm using images, so I want to make sure that I click the include images box here, because if not, then I'll just have a bunch of blank boxes. And then also change the page range to the current selection. Now that it's saved, I'll do the same process for the next two, and then we're ready to load everything into VersaWorks. Now let's get to the part of the video that everybody wants to hear, the pricing. How did I price this? In our previous video, for our materials, I used the formula of dividing the price by length to get the cost per foot of printable materials, and nothing is going to change for that. The banner material that I used is the Green Star DB10 10-ounce matte digital banner material, and my cost per foot on that is only 40 cents. Now let's talk about ink prices. We're going to cover a little bit from the previous video just in case you haven't seen that. On average, 1 milliliter of ink will equate to 1 square foot of printing with average coverage. Each BN-20 cartridge has 220 milliliters of ink or 220 square foot of ink inside of it. If we apply that formula to the current cost of the CMYK inks at USCutter.com, you can see that it comes out to 0.4045 or 41 cents per square foot. We're only going to be using CMYK inks in this, so to get the total cost per square foot in inks, we want to multiply that by 4, and I'm going to get $1.64 per square foot. I'm also aware that the ink has been calculated in square footage, while the material has not. So to even that up, we're just going to round the ink cost up to around $2 per foot. You can also see that we are not doing full coverage. There's a lot of white in the background, so we won't be printing on a lot of this banner. So that is also going to keep the cost of printing down for me. You also want to add a little bit in there, that way you can cover just in case you make some mistakes and have to waste some material. So I ended up asking $35 per banner and then $40 in all for the design and logo work. I mean, I'm not going to charge somebody for maybe 5 minutes worth of work, because when it comes to these banners, I'm only going to be slicing 2 ends and then adding grommets every 2 feet. So there's not really much work with this involved outside of the logo design and banner design. So that is just for banners, and there's a lot more to do with this job. I've got 10 double-sided coroplast signs with step stakes to make. We've got some hour signs that we're going to put in an A-frame. We've also got some hour signs and then also some logos that we're going to be putting on the truck as well as the trailer. So there's a lot more to do with this job. And if you have any questions about any of the products that I've used or anything like that, feel free to contact us directly at USCutter using the information shown here on your screen. Give us a call or shoot us an email. Either way, we're happy to talk to you. Again, thank you so much for taking the time to watch this, and I hope you have yourself a wonderful day.